Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show. My name is Elle Russ, and I am a #1 best-selling author and master coach. My intention is to inspire, educate, and motivate you with weekly content featuring amazing guests and solo episodes. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about me, my courses, free masterclasses, partner discounts, and much more. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, Elizabeth Resnick is back with me today for our December episodes. Today we're going to talk about holiday weight loss. Sounds like they contradict one another, but it's possible. And we're also going to talk a little bit about maybe holiday garbage recovery as well, in case it doesn't work out for you. But anyway, welcome back, Elizabeth. How are you?
I am doing great, Elle. How are you?
So you really walk the walk. You're 57. You're always in a bikini and with great reason to be. And you make it simple for people and it's easy for you. Some people, listen, have had a harder time, but you over the years are consistent. You always talk about those small steps. Let's talk about this holiday stuff because everyone overdoes it around the holidays. It's a tough one. And then it's January and everyone's like, oh, I feel awful. And if you're in a place that's really cold, it's very unmotivating. It's dark, it's cold. I get it. I'm now in California, but I'm from downtown Chicago. And it's like, no one wants to get scraping the snow off the car into the car with 8 jackets. Then you got to get into the gym and then you take it out. I mean, the whole thing.
It's not fun. I'm in Pennsylvania. So yeah,
it's not fun. Now you work out at home. You have everything. And you just go to Elizabeth's Instagram and have a whole entire home workout and not even ever have to go anywhere else.
Right.
Really, you can. But there are some things because I'm going into this holiday. I'm killing it on this holiday. I had some perimenopausal ups and downs with weight and finally figured it out for this part and was able to drop literally over the past couple of years because the pandemic hit. I did a thyroid experiment where I went off thyroid hormone. I gained 10 pounds there during perimenopause, lost like 17 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing the right things. And it came up and you've been consistent,
but also biohacking, also going, hey, this weight doesn't seem totally right. There's got to be something here. This doesn't match up with what I'm eating and what I'm doing. And then where are the things that I can close up the loop? And now it's really easy and great to maintain. And it's really nice to go into a holiday feeling good in your body. But if you're not, it doesn't mean you have to diet over the holidays. I would just say there are so many other better choices. There's fruit and whipped cream, right? There's getting rid of the shitty oils. We would say start there. Start with the paleo plan. Anybody can go figure that out on a Google search. But it's the making better choices with perhaps desserts, making them a little cleaner, making them from scratch. Elizabeth has fudge brownies that no one can believe are 50 calories, and you wouldn't know that she uses sweet potato in those suckers. So
and they're delicious. And there's no flour. They're real food ingredients and
eat 4 of them, but it's not 800 calories then when you eat 4 of them.
Exactly.
And it's not the shitty sugar and the shitty oils and all of the other stuff.
There's no sugar hangover either, which is amazing.
Yeah. And you're getting really nutritious. Yeah. So there are so many ways to do this. Elizabeth has a great cookbook that can help you through the holidays with some of this stuff. I will put the links in the show notes to connect with her. And it's $17 and it's amazing. And we probably talked about it in another episode, but people lost 35 pounds just following the recipes in the book.
Yeah. Down pant sizes, all kinds of things. It's amazing.
Right. So what are some other tips and tricks? I would say just lots of water, hold the alcohol, or if alcohol is the thing you'd like to indulge in over the holidays, then note you might need to offset carbs.
Yes. And I would I have a few alcohol tips. And this is coming from, I personally have not really been drinking lately, but I do have some alcohol tips. And a couple of things I want to address, because yes, we're going to talk about some legit things that you can do, some strategies. I also want to say that there is a story about, the holidays. Oh, everybody gains weight over the holidays. Oh, all hell.
Why does that have to be the story?
Right. That doesn't. So first of all, you can just decide that you can simply decide that that's not your story, that you get to enjoy the holidays. You have a wonderful time with family and friends. You eat delicious food and you don't feel like crap and you don't gain weight. So that's the first thing. Let's tell a new story. But I think my number one tip for the holidays, for not gaining weight, for possibly losing weight. And this is a tip that will work with everybody for the rest of their lives and it works wherever you are. You can be in a 5-star restaurant, you can be in a convenience store, and you can be at a party, you can be in your own house, and you can always prioritize protein and produce.
That's right.
It is really that simple. I had another woman in my community. She hasn't done one-on-one coaching with me or anything, but she really follows my tips, she uses my recipes, uses my journal. She said basically that one she was like, you're always in my ear saying prioritize protein, produce. And she lost 25 pounds. She wasn't even counting macros, tracking anything. She was writing down what she was eating to keep herself honest and just prioritizing protein and produce. And the protein is so magical as far as being so satiating, greatly reducing to even eliminating cravings. One of my clients told me that within 2 weeks of changing what she was eating, her desire to snack at night completely disappeared. So when you are getting enough and never came back, when you're getting enough protein, you're not tempted to pick at the crap. It doesn't mean you're not going to enjoy that pumpkin pie or whatever your thing is. Go ahead and enjoy it. But it means you don't have that urge to be constantly snacking.
Well, and also let's be honest about it. When you have a treat prior to protein, it's not fun to eat pumpkin pie and then go to eating steak. That's not usually, the palate doesn't go. Usually that's not how it works. So not only prioritizing protein in your life, how about at the meal? Eat the protein and veggies first. Fill yourself up on that. You're bound to eat less, and then it's going to be enjoyable. Make that, if you need to, a little bit of a reward or the switch. Like, hey, I might have some stuff, or I'm afraid I might. Oh God, I do this every year. Let me just listen to Elizabeth and Elle. I'm going to eat the turkey first and the veggies, and I'm going to fill up on a lot of protein. I'm going to wait a little minute, and then let's see. And I guarantee you're not going to be able to put away 15 pieces of pie, You're
just not going to want it. Something else is to really, again, people make it sound like the holidays, like we're just fed this constant 24-hour buffet of treats and sweets. But in reality, I think for most of us, that's not the case. We have our get-togethers that we know we're going to, but it's not like every minute of every day. So, focus on just eating really clean, simple food for the meals that you have complete control over, which are usually like breakfast and lunch and a lot of weeknight dinners.
Eating before going to a holiday party where there is going to be a bunch of crap. And also sometimes I just don't like eating, getting things in my teeth, or if I want to have conversations with people. So to me, it's kind of nice because I remember back in the day, I just be around the food tray the whole time or whatever, and so you can actually have more meaningful conversations and interactions. It's not to say you can't nibble or you can't eat there. I'm not saying don't eat at someone's party, but if there's going to be a bunch of junk there, junk at the office, hey, have a high protein breakfast and go in there, and then you're not going to want the donut salad you bring in.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of things at the office, a question I received recently on Instagram, a woman said, well, how to resist all the stuff that people bring into work and put in the break room, the things, because they don't want them at their house. And she made I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but basically people are bringing all these treats and things into the break room at work to get them out of their house. And I said, okay.
Oh.
So you feel you want to resist crap that people have to get out of their house to bring it to work? That's all that I need to know. I don't even want to eat it. Like I said, I said, just put this in perspective. There is no pressure to why are you even worrying about this? I said, eat more protein. Don't go to the break room. Sometimes it's just,
or if anyone challenges it, oh, come on, oh, what do you want to die? Just any kind of objections, you could just be like, no, just be like, no, I believe I've had enough recently. Now I've already overdone it. Just get out of the conversation. You don't need to sit there and defend yourself or talk about your new dietary thing or podcast. I'm trying to do a different story about people don't want it. They're gonna be like, come on, have a drink, have some eggnog. Oh, come on. You're not gonna have a piece of pumpkin pie. And honestly, at that point, especially if you've eaten the protein and produce, if you don't want it, you can say, I'm full. I'm full. I planned on it and the plan got shot.
Yes.
Maybe later.
So I use a phrase, no one cares if you eat the pie. And this happened. I had a client that was overthinking some events coming up, and like one was a birthday party. Like, well, if I don't have the birthday, and I said, no, no one cares if you have the birthday cake. So like, have it or don't have it, but please don't go on some big explanation, because at the end of the day, no one cares. And if the people that are really, really are pressuring you, that's their problem. They're maybe uncomfortable with the fact that you're taking care of yourself and you look really good. And maybe that makes them feel a little bit uncomfortable about themselves. And that's why they're pressuring you to eat the pumpkin pie or the eggnog or whatever it is. So just like at the end of the day, no one cares if you eat the pie except you. So if that's the thing that you can't wait to have and you love it and you truly enjoy it, by all means do so. But don't eat it to make somebody else happier out of obligation.
And the whole like, oh, they keep bringing stuff into the house. I don't care. So you do you. That's you.
You're
That's
an adult.
You're an adult. You're not. You don't. It's when someone's like, hey, you want to be my workout buddy? It's like, be your own workout buddy.
Yeah.
That's really what's going to get you there is the self-discipline. I'm not saying people can't do workout buddies or whatever, but often you're like, you might fail on that one because you're already seeking for someone else to help motivate you, right? Someone else to help you not make the decision.
And then it's also really easy to blame it on that other person if it doesn't work for you. Well, I wanted a workout buddy, but then it turns out they weren't available most of the time. That's why you need to be your own workout buddy.
Also, I knew someone who friends with a bunch of people in their neighborhood, and they had a very strict diet and, just had issues if they ate other stuff, certain things. So they'd go over there, like, oh, these people are cooking all this junk. And she started to ask the people, like, they'd invite them over for dinner, and she'd be like, well, what are you making? And then people finally were like, hey, we think you're rude because you're so picky about your food stuff. And I was like, they're kind of right. Yeah, they're right. You bring your own shit. Eat before you go over there and hang out. Don't just sit there and pick and then be like, well, I don't have anything to eat. Like, that's on you. They're going to cook their shit. You either go over there for the company or not. Right. Yeah. So on the other side of that too, don't be blaming people. If they're always like, those people who are always cooking stuff like you're never going to eat, then this. So plan ahead, and it's not rude if you don't eat. You can have a bite of something, maybe not. You can say, I'm so full, whatever, just show up, Yeah. And in that case, they already know her story and her situation. So it's not rude if she doesn't eat it.
Exactly.
But don't be rude about, like, they're not going to always cook what you want. So bring your own shit.
It's not their job. They're not obligated. It all comes down to just you're responsible for yourself. And on that note of they keep bringing stuff into the house, I would also say, don't bring, like, you're an adult, so don't bring stuff into the house for other people. Don't say, oh, I should buy this candy that I really want in case somebody stops by so I have something to offer them. Like, don't bring shit into the house if you're going to eat it. You're an adult. And I'm calling myself out on this because last year at Costco, I bought a 3-pound bag of chocolate chips. Now, I'm not baking for the army. Chocolate chips are 100%, I'll admit they are my downfall, but my weakness, because it's a thing I do enjoy chocolate. And it's a thing you can pick at a few, and then you pick at a few more. And a
handful has gone by.
And next thing you know, it's a handful. It's two. Next thing you know, you've eaten like 2 chocolate bars in chocolate chips, and it's not doing any favors. So calling myself out on my own shit because I'm the one that bought the 3-pound bag of chocolate chips at Costco last year, saying I was doing it for my holiday baking. I'm not really doing it.
Right. Like lying to yourself in Costco.
Right. Lying to myself in Costco. And I'm not baking for an army. And I ate a hell of a lot of chocolate chips. I'm fine. It's all good. But I'm not buying the 3-pound bag of chocolate chips anymore because I don't need that in my house. If I decide that I'm going to bake something with some chocolate chips, because I do have some fun, I do make these really great, like, grain-free peanut butter recipes, peanut butter cookies. If I decide that I want to put chocolate chips in them, I can go to the store and buy a small bag of chocolate chips. I don't ever need the 3-pound bag again.
That's right. Don't bring in the temptations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or also too, if I have been really good about this over the years as I've gotten fat adapted, where I can do portion control on things like that. Sure. Like, I can have just a couple bites of ice cream, and sometimes I'll eat the half the pint, but like sometimes I can just have a couple bites. I'm really good at that now, where I used to be like, I can't have it because see, if I even 3 bites, the whole pint is gone. Like, I used to have no control. And so now I do have that control. But if you don't out there, then let's not test it right now. How
Right.
about get fat adapted first, get paleo, fix your stuff, get to where you're feeling good, and then focus on being able to have those moments. I also guarantee by the time you have that bite of ice cream, like it'll be good, but really then only 3 bites is good because at that point your palate has changed. Now blueberries and whipped cream or the jam and other things are really sweet. And we've talked about that before with paleo stuff. So
yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, when you are fat adapted and you are getting the protein that your body needs and you're just feeling so satiated, you really don't want the stuff. Like, and even with those chocolate chips, had I, and that was again my one little thing, but it's so easy now for me just not to, I just don't want the sweets and the chips and any of that stuff. It doesn't even really hold any appeal to me anymore.
Yeah, the protein really satiates. And if you don't get enough of it, you're going to start to crave energy and carbs and other stuff. And it goes down a spiral. I had someone say to me once at a dinner, maybe it was the portion I had, maybe I didn't choose the crappy stuff to eat on the table, but they were like, "Oh, Elle, you're so healthy." It was like, and I remember I was thinking about that today because I was thinking, like, what would be, I mean, what would be the response to that? Like, oh, well, I care about myself. Apparently you don't give a shit. Like what?
Right. Like,
yes, comment. Yeah. It's so funny that was seen as like a little bit of a like, oh, you're so healthy, or like as if somehow like they're lamenting about their own thing. Holiday also is not the time to talk about weight loss and stuff with people at the table, because people might ask, like, what if you've lost a lot of weight and you show up to a family thing and like, oh, hey, you must be like, well, tell me about that. You just like, oh, you can look it up. I don't want to talk about, or like, just change the subject, get off of it. No one also needs like paleo lectures at
Nobody needs a health lecture at the dinner table ever.
Let them eat the stuffing. We don't care if it has gluten in it. Just you don't need to alert them like, oh, hey, did you know that, gluten is really bad for autoimmune disorders, grandma? You have an autoimmune disorder. Maybe you shouldn't eat the stuffing. Yeah. How about no, don't do it. Shut it, zip it, let it happen. You can't. That's another thing too. Yeah. But judgments too at holiday parties, people or at the office. And I remember Eli Rohde, she used to say, I'm allergic to grains, or she would say, I get migraines if I eat wheat, or whatever the thing was, because the justification for her health was not enough, right? And sometimes it isn't enough for people. So if you know that these are the people at your office break room, right? Oh, come on, have a piece of pizza. What you're not, you're doing your paleo, whatever the rip is. Like, again, you have to have confidence. That's a whole nother story, but you don't have to defend it. You can just also explain with something like that. Just simple.
Yes.
I'm going to argue with that. Like, I get a migraine when I eat wheat. They're not going to be like, oh shit. Well, they're not going to challenge it usually.
Right. But hopefully all you have to say is no, thank you.
That's right.
I brought that up before, that no, thank you is a really powerful statement that we could all use in our lives. You don't have to everything. Like, you don't have to explain why you can't do something or why you're not doing something. No, thank you. Do you want some pie? No, thank you. Would you like a second glass of wine? No, thank you. Any stuff you can just say no, thank you.
Yeah, I very strongly just no.
No.
Yep. I get it a lot of times for drinking, like, oh, are you not drinking? Because everybody seems to drink. So if someone offers you a drink and you're like, oh, no, thanks, I'll just have water. And they're like, oh, are you not drinking? Or do you not drink? Or, oh, are you sober? Or all these questions about it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what are the questions? So people are like that. You're going to come across it, you know? And for me, I'm always just been like, I don't like it. So I'm not into it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they don't. I do find it interesting that we could turn something down and there's a lot of questions. And I think sometimes it's a genuine curiosity. But many times it's somebody maybe a little uncomfortable with their own choices.
Bingo. It's they're not happy with their own choices. I think that's a lot of it. Yeah. It's a subconscious thing. It's not actively, they're not malintent, thinking about it. Let's talk a little bit about recovery. So if you're going into the new year, or you're just like, hey, look, I ate stuff that I don't normally eat because I went and had fun, right? I'm not saying you're going to overdo it, but let's say you just ate some things you don't normally do, but Christmas, you're going to have that pie once a year and is whatever. I think a great cleanup, I really, guys, don't jump right into something like fast or anything like that. But when people talk about intermittent fasting, it's so popular now. I do it naturally. I'm not saying to do it. You can focus on a paleo 3 meal a day thing to start. You may notice you're not hungry in the morning. But one of the hacks, I do love using energy bits, the spirulina pills.
Oh, yeah.
I really love those. So those are good for if you're starting, and you can look on my website, there's a discount on there. But if you're starting to do like, hey, I kind of want to detox, clean out sort of, but I want to eat. I don't want to like, I'm not going to do some bullshit water fast. Like
Right.
you could start off where the morning time you have some energy bits, right? And like that kind of satiates me and or before a workout or something like that. And then I'll eat maybe after that hike or whatever. So that can be an in-betweener. So can something like a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of MCT oil, even a little bit of olive oil or avocado oil, any little bit of a tiny fat bomb. I don't think Elizabeth and I are in favor of doing some old school bulletproof coffee where people put 500 calories worth of oil and butter into their coffee. You're not doing that any favors for yourself there. But a little sippers can hold you over. I do it all the time. If I'm in between stuff and I know there's a dinner that we've got to be at 6 or whatever, I might take a little sipper of coconut oil. Like I'm talking a little light teaspoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like about a teaspoon is amazing.
And even of olive oil even.
Yeah. Blending that coconut oil into your coffee. And again, not 3 tablespoons, but like a teaspoon is a really nice creamy flavor, extremely satiating, so great for your brain. Like it gets your brain going.
Yes. And it will, again, kick things more into the fat burning, relying on running on that and switching. It's part of the 21-day primal switchover. Getting your body unaddicted to the glucose and running on that and starting to get it familiar and like to run on fat and burning fat a little bit more as its fuel. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that's kind of the layman's way I can explain it. How would you?
No, I think that that's perfect. And making sure that you are hydrating, getting some electrolytes, whether you're using a high quality electrolyte or just doing some like a mineral rich salt, like the Redmond salt in your water, a little bit of that, because that really helps us get the water into our cells where it's in, like throughout our cells where it's needed, instead of just like drinking and peeing it out. Hydrating is important. And it's like there doesn't need to be this giant fast or massive boot camp holiday cleanup. It's just eat real food, move your body. It's not, oh, well, now the holidays are over and I haven't worked out in months, but now I'm going to the gym like every day. No, like that's not necessary.
I had a friend who lost 40 pounds in a wheelchair. You don't have to.
Right.
And they weren't like running laps on the track in their wheelchair with their arms. They weren't like exerting calorie burning every day. So they weren't like an Paralympic athlete. So you can do that. It's literally 80% of your body composition is what you put in it. 10% might be genetics. What's the other? Like, it's just.
It's the food is going to make the biggest difference.
Before we close, I want to talk about some of the things that I have loved over the years with like some biohacking, even though like that term is a little bit, but I love like the energy bits, all the stuff you and I both have discounts for, the Redmond salt. Go to Elizabeth's page as well. She's got great discounts on products, are things that we use all the time and that we incorporate. I love Paleo Valley. They've got sometimes when I don't feel like eating vegetables, I'll use their green powder or other people's green powders.
Their green powder is amazing. Yes.
But their green powder is great because that stuff is like pure, amazing, incredible. Like the ingredients
are so good and it actually tastes good.
It actually tastes good. But even if it didn't, sometimes it's just like a medicinal, like, let me get it in me because there's times when I just don't feel like eating vegetables, but I'm getting some greens.
Right.
Switching to, I also love, it's got a light vanilla flavor and usually I don't like any of that, but Brad Kearns has a great whey plus creatine powder. If you're trying to like lose weight and gain some muscle and you're starting to lift weights, it's not like going to be crazy, but you could, again, or some other clean grass-fed whey. If you can tolerate whey,
yes, I love Brad's whey. And that is a nice tip too. I am generally, again, I'm never going to be one that relies on protein powders. I want to see people getting their protein from real food, but that is a great tool to boost your protein. and get some more in a really easy, very digestible way. And it tastes good. And the vanilla flavor is just really nice and mild too.
It's mild. Yeah. I do it because I literally realized I need to get more protein, and I wasn't necessarily having the appetite for the volume of animal protein I know I needed to have. And I told you in the summer, I started to be like, I'm doing whey protein shakes midday, and some of them are really simple, and some of them were like a full meal type of, smoothie. The importance on that, obviously not putting a bunch of crap and carbs in, right? The other thing too is like dessert wise, if I'm really craving something and I want to feel like it's crappy, we did an IG live years ago about how to have dessert without being an asshole.
Yeah.
Right. And you were like, put a chocolate chip inside of a raspberry or whatever.
Yeah.
You could take like gluten-free, muffins and put like some fresh whipped cream and strawberries in there, and it feels like a strawberry shortcake. Like there's so many different hacks to do it. But one of the things I love, and I'm not a huge dairy person, but I can tolerate some I love Greek yogurt. So I'll take 5% Greek yogurt, some blueberries, and some like California lavender honey. And listen, it's so decadent. It's so, it literally, there's times when I'm eating it, I'm like, this is really, I could be eating buttercream cake at this point. This is just like,
well, Greek yogurt is a great protein boost too. And that's another one that I recommend to women.
Cottage cheese and fruit. I love cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with cottage cheese. But those are like the cottage cheese and the Greek yogurt are such great ways to boost your protein that also you don't have to cook. That was another tip too that I wanted to throw out there is around the holidays when we are, our schedules are a little more full and we're trying to eat clean stuff when we're at home, is to have some no cook protein options on hand, like the Greek yogurt, the cottage cheese, the Costco smoked salmon is amazing. That's quick protein, really decadent tasting. Canned tuna, whatever, but just to have the whey protein, but just to have some things on hand that you can literally grab and go.
And I'm sure you can get them everywhere now, but California, obviously we have a huge variety of really healthy, clean sort of packaged products. And they sell grass-fed meatballs in a package that you can just quickly throw in the air fryer. There are chicken meatballs that are clean, no crapola in them, or very minimal. And like I have them in the freezer. And the other day I was like, I need quick protein. There wasn't anything cooked in around, and I threw them right in the air fryer. And I had you know what I mean? It's just there are some alternatives versus some of the garbage that's out there. Or what I do, which is pre-make yourself some meatballs, throw them in the freezer. That way you can just whip them out, throw them in the microwave. They're cooked already. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing is when this is a tip all year long, but especially let's say when people are busier than usual, every time you cook, just make extra. There's so many things. I'll do chicken thighs in the crock pot, season them up with the Redmond smoked salt, a little bit of maple syrup. It's like this yummy, smoky maple flavor. I can make a ton of that and then freeze some. And there's lots of meals ready to go. And it took me almost no hands-on time to make.
I love it. Well, we wish everyone a great holiday season. Change the story. If you're someone that is like, oh, every year I overdo it and I gain 10 pounds, you can change that story. You're an adult. You can make decisions and then clean up. I also just wanted to mention too, even though I'm not a big alcohol person, but one of the tips to recover if you did some excess drinking is like just some light milk thistle. Obviously talk to your doctors, but that's an over-the-counter thing at 200 milligrams. That's a great liver tonic. And it's on a lot of those like don't get hungover formulas,
Oh, activated charcoal actually is good as well.
Yeah.
Take a little bit of, if you do drink, a couple activated charcoal capsules, the milk thistle's good, and then electrolytes to rehydrate.
I love it. All right. You can find Elizabeth at happy, healthy, and hot _Elizabeth on Instagram, and I'll put the links to connect with her in the show notes. Anything else you'd like to leave us with before we go about the holidays and the new year?
Just a simple statement, prioritize protein and produce. If you use that as your health mantra, it will get you through a lot of situations.
I love it. All right, everyone, have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey, listeners. Over the years, a ton of companies have approached me to collaborate, but I will only promote companies whose products I believe in and that I actually use and consume on a regular basis. So let me tell you about some of my favorite companies that I can offer you discounts for. Rep Provisions, an amazing company doing incredible things for our planet, topsoil, and animals with regenerative agriculture. And it's my #1 source for quality pasture-raised meat and chicken. Visit repprovisions.com and use code L15 for 15% off. I'm also obsessed with a company called Carnivore Crisps. They make a lean, all-natural, and delicious alternative to conventional snacking, made with just real meat and real salt. Totally addictive, and my favorite ones are the beef brisket and the ribeye. Visit carnivorecrisps.com and use code PALEO10 for 10% off. I also love and regularly use Paleo Valley products. They make amazing supplements and delicious paleo products. I use the superfood greens powder, grass-fed beef sticks, the organ complex, and their bone broth bars. I love the lemon and apple. I also use their essential C complex and more. Visit paleovalley.com/promos/Elle Russ for 15% off. I also love Primal Kitchen. They make delicious paleo-approved, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and no refined sugar products. And I use them daily, from their collagen powders and sauces and marinades to their avocado and olive oil. So good, so healthy. Visit primalkitchen.com and use code L10 for 10% off. I also love paleo powder and use it almost on everything I cook. They make incredible seasoning blends, and they also have these incredible grain-free coatings that feel just like crispy breadings that you would have had prior to knowing that there's another way. So visit paleopowder.com and use code L15 for 15% off.